Hello, I'm David.
Hi, I'm Julie.
Welcome to our review of Star Wars Battle of Hoth by asmodee, Days of Wonder. And this is for ages 8 and up, 2 to 4 players, takes about 30 minutes to play. So first I'll give an overview of how it plays, then we'll give our rating and then the reasons for our rating. Hopefully you've had a chance to check out our how to play and playthrough of Scenario 1, and then we did the additional 16 scenarios, so you can see the first 17 scenarios. And we'll even give you the stats on who won the most and the least. All right, so this simulates The Empire Strikes Back, the Battle of Hoth, and scenario 10 here is most like the movie, which means that there is another 16 scenarios that
are not like the movie.
Well, they extend the movie. Now, scenario 18 is even more like what you see here, but you need two boxes to play an epic scenario. You don't have enough pieces to play that one. And it also includes campaign scenarios, which we haven't touched yet, but they use the same scenarios that we did play in here. They just do it in a different order, and if there's a winner or a loser, it has a kind of like a choose your own adventure thing where if you win, you play this next scenario, and that person might get a particular card if they lost or won. We haven't tried that yet.
I'm good for now.
All right, so right here, you see it set up. You have your AT-ATS. There are probe droids that are not shown here. These pieces here, if you bought the game from a retailer, you've got structures, which includes the shield generators and also the
big ball
ion cannon here, which I have in the box here. So those don't normally come with it unless you bought it from a retailer. Otherwise, you're using these tokens. So one side's the Empire, one side's the Rebel. And like Memoir 44, it's based on the command and color system. That's why you see behind us the other games by Richard Borg. This was co-designed with another designer, but you have Battle Cry and Memoir 44. Those some of his most famous versions of this system. And why is it called the command and color system? Because when you play a card, you have your left flank, center, and right, or sections, left section, center section, and right section, and Julie has her section. So if you play a card such as this means that you can order 2 units in your left section. Some cards you get to pick, and it has additional requirements. For instance, you can order 2 units of your choice, but they can't attack, but they can move 2 additional hexes. This one here, for instance, I could activate a unit in my right flank, and at the end of my turn I can draw 2 cards and discard 1 and keep 1, so it gives me a chance to pick a better card. So in terms of the units, this, unlike Memoir 44, the units are asymmetrical. They're not equal. So you'll notice, for instance, here my snowtroopers, I get 4 units per hex, whereas Julie only gets 3 units of her rebel troopers, but I get 4.
It's not fair.
And so they can move 1 space. Her rebel troops and mine can move 1 space and attack, or move 2 spaces and not attack. You get 3 dice and adjacent, or 2 dice 2 spaces away, or 1 die 3 spaces away. And this tells you what you need to hit that unit. So if Julie attacked me, she would need to get a unit icon or a blast icon to remove one of the units. And when units do get damaged, even if I'm down to 1, they still attack at full strength. You cannot combine units if they're down in strength, and you cannot split fire. So if I do fire into this space, I have to use all 3 dice into that space. I can't split up my attack. So the other units that I have here is the AT-AT. There's only one scenario where you actually disperse troops, which is interesting, because that's the whole purpose of the AT-AT. Not only does it fire from an elevated position, but it also deploys units.
I didn't know that. I learned that.
Yeah, well, it doesn't really come across in the movies. It can move 1 space, and look, like tanks in Memoir 44, it can use 3 dice 1, 2, or 3 spaces away. What's different about them is that if you get a vehicle hit, which is this icon, or a blast hit, you re-roll those hits. So what that means is, let's say my AT-ATS right here, and Julie attacks with these units, so Julie would roll these 3 dice, because it's 3 spaces away. And she missed. And they ignore the retreat icon. So that's basically, if you watch all 17 scenarios, that's pretty much how Julie rolled anyway. So she got a blast. So she got a blast icon and the vehicle icon. Okay, well she hit. Now she must re-roll those, and in order to destroy it, she has to get a blast icon. And she didn't. So the AT-AT survived. So it hit her armor, but it didn't destroy it. So the probe droids, it has this icon here. Usually you do not get medals when you destroy them. You need blast icons to hit them. They can move 2 spaces, and they attack with 2 or 1 space away. And they look like this in the box here.
They're kind of funny looking.
Well, that's in the Empire Strikes Back when they're introduced. So that's the only units for the Empire. It does not have an AT-ATS, which are the 2-foot walkers. They do make their first appearance in Empire Strikes Back. Now Julie's is similar. She has rebel troopers, which is just like snowtroopers, but she has snowspeeders, which can move 3 spaces and attack adjacently for 4 dice for 2 dice. She has artillery. They do not retreat. They cannot move. And it's not worth a medal. I wonder if we did that wrong one scenario. I don't think I...
No, you didn't get a medal for that.
Yeah. Or, okay, but anyways, you need a blast icon to destroy them. They can hit 4, 3, 2, or 1 space away.
You just killed them a lot.
So in this scenario, the way it would work in the game is you set up the scenario based on the book here. So you open it up, and you've got to rotate it the way the board is, otherwise you'll get confused. And then you read the directions, and so it says here, what does a rebel player need to win? Well, it needs 5 medals, that's what that indicates. And she starts with 4 command cards. Here, the Empire gets 4 command cards, starts the game, and needs sudden death. The only way the Empire wins is if you destroy both shield generators. It doesn't matter how many rebel units I eliminate. And so let's, and then you'll see there's something else that comes with the game. You can play with leaders. We have 9 leader cards. When you watch the scenarios, I gave Julia all 9 of her leader cards. I took none because Julia's not experienced in these games. So I have 3 cards for General Piet, General Veers, and Lord Vader.
That's the only one I know.
So you could play where you select 3 cards for a scenario. So I could play with Vader, and Julia could, for instance, play with her 3 Leia cards, or her
I have Han Solo, I think.
or 3 Han cards, or 3
Luke Skywalker.
Luke cards. Where's the Luke card? Right there. So that's an option that you can play. But if you watch the scenarios or playthroughs, I gave Julia all 9 of hers, and you'll see the win-loss ratio here in a minute. So if we were to do a quick little play here, I will draw my 4. I will go first.
You didn't give me my...
So Julie's not playing with any leader cards. So here I have, and I got to get to her shield generators. So I'm just going to, and so you do have some units that have badges. This has an E-web. And so in the game, it does give you specifics on what certain badges do. You can have elite troops that move faster and still can fire, or they start with more units, or they can spot, or they can do what's called a breakthrough, where if they defeat or make a unit that's adjacent to them in close combat, if they move away or destroy, they can move in there and attack again. The E-web allows you to re-roll if set up. You also have terrain. So ridges are like hills in Memoir 44. Rocks are like forests. You have seracs, which are impassable. Buildings and wreckages, which are like towns in Memoir 44. Trenches are like sandbags in Memoir 44. And crevices, that's you can they don't block line of sight. You can fire over them. No one can move over them except snowspeeders. So some of them block line of sight, like ridges and rocks, and seracs, and buildings and wrecks. Trenches and crevices do not block line of sight. So, is there anything else? Well, so here we go. If I were to do this one here, order all in my left section. So I'd play that card. If I move into here, this is my breakthrough unit. I can move the AT-AT one space. And it cannot fire anything because it's over 3 spaces away, but these guys can fire. These units are in the trench, and because of the terrain effect, they get -1 die. In other words, I'd normally be able to get to roll three dice, but I get to only roll 2. And they ignore the first retreat because they're in a trench. So here I would roll. And I got 2 hits, which is how the scenarios would go. I'd roll really well. So Julie has 1 left there. I'm done. I draw a card. So the way it goes is you order your units. You can move with them. And the units that moved, you can attack with them. All right, so what card are you going to play?
Order all infantry units in 1 section. I get to roll an extra dice.
So here, she's probably going to be able to defeat those units. You're going to activate these,
yes.
all of these right here, and her speeders.
No, only infantry.
Oh, only infantry.
Yep.
All right, so normally she would get 3 dice here because of that card, she'll get 4. So go ahead and roll 4. She hit once, and they retreat 2 spaces. And you can retreat into terrain, so I'll retreat into the ridge here. They keep that badge with them. And 3, 2, 1. It would be 0 on the ridge, but because of the card, she gets +1. She gets attacked with 1 die. And they retreat again. So that would be an example of a turn. In turn order, we keep on, and she would draw a card, and we keep on playing until the victory conditions were met for this scenario. All right, and if you want to see more detail, we played all 17. You can look for scenario 10 and see how that worked out.
Yeah.
Let's see now how we rated it. I rated an 8. Liked to play, probably suggested and never turned down a game, and Julie set a 7. Now the reason why it's not a 9 or a 10 for me, because there's not as much material for this. Memoir 44 is a 10 for me. We have all the material for it of the first edition. It just came out with the core set second edition. We're missing 1 campaign book and the campaign backpack. That's the only thing we're missing. There's a
Give you a backpack?
Yeah, where you could store all the games.
Oh, okay.
Which became obsolete almost right away because you couldn't fit everything in it anyway. That's probably why I didn't get it. But but it did come with some scenarios that it did. Okay. But the point is, that's a 10 because there's a lot of material for it. And having written Hell Freezes Over for Pinnacle, the D20 Weird Wars, my brothers and I, we're big World War II fans. That's an RPG that we did writing for Pinnacle, using the D20 games, D20 role-playing, back when it was D&D 3.0 and 3.5, way back then. So my point is, I'm more likely to play Memoir 44, but the reason why it's an 8 is because, let's see the reasons. I'll show you. So it's thematic. Star Wars. I love Star Wars. I grew up with it. Saw all the movies first run, beginning at the age of 6. It's a great entry level. So if I was going to introduce someone to Memoir 44, this would be the game system. And then we can play Memoir 44 after if they like it. It's quality components and art. They did not skimp on the art here. I mean, they're not screen grabs. That's hand drawn. And they did a good job. The cards are average quality. The miniatures are well done. I've seen some people paint them already.
Oh, that's cool.
And there is enough detail here to do a good paint job.
Sure.
And if you look at the speeders, for instance, I mean, they're not the most detailed, but they got a lot of nice areas to paint and hold just enough detail. And I think the terrain might be a little thinner than Memoir 44. I'm not too sure. I haven't checked that. But it's pretty close. The board is a little smaller because we're trying to make it simpler. So asymmetrical factions is a plus in this case, although the Empire seems to have the advantage because they have 4 units versus 3. And when I looked at the leader cards, which we didn't play with for my side, my leader cards seem to be really, really good. It's good that I didn't play with them because I think Julie would have gotten more frustrated during the game if I had played some of those leader cards.
He'd be playing by himself.
So there is an imbalance in scenarios, even with leader advantage plays. So because, like I said, Julie is not used to these games, she didn't grow up with them, I gave her all 9 leader cards, and even with that,
Didn't matter.
oops, it's still, I won 9 out of the 8. Even though she had not, now those, most of her cards gave her extra dice and extra movement. And even then, I won 9 of the 8 scenarios. And you can see which ones are there. And some of them were very close, where it could have went the other way that I won. But some of them were very imbalanced, where she had no chance in winning. And there was a couple where I had no chance of winning with the Empire. Which is really odd, because if you look at scenario 1, for instance, and Richard Borg, I looked up, he's been designing since 1987. I'm surprised, when you look at scenario 1 here, I don't know how the rebels can win. Now, they can get 2 medals for destroying the probe droids here, here, and here. And you know what an easy fix for that is? You put the probe droid here, one of them, and maybe out front, so the Empire has to decide, do you move forward and attack with them or protect them? The way it stands right now, the rebels pretty much get wiped out on the first scenario, which leads me to a future comment here. You'll see why that's a problem. Oops, that's Julie's. Okay. So there's some balance issues. Even with giving Julie the leader advantage, I think the Empire has the advantage. Mm-hmm. So simplicity is favored over logical, more complex mechanics. Now, what I mean by that is the speeders. The only advantage that they have as speeders, in terms of they can fly over crevices. Okay, they're the only unit that can do that. But it doesn't make sense that when they're over rocks, that they get a -1 die. They're in the air. Are they really hiding in the rocks? It's kind of dumb. Now I can see maybe over buildings they don't get to attack out very well when they're flying over buildings. That's fine. They should have given more advantages to the speeders based on the physics of it. I could see that maybe on the ridges they would have a -1 die, but they should be able to fly over rocks and not have that problem. So that was a little odd with that. And then why was only one scenario where AT-ATS were going to deploy troops? I don't know about that either. So that's why it's a neutral. Because I can see they're trying to make this as simple as possible for people who are not the most experienced hobby players. And there might be, maybe they're used to Ticket to Ride and things like that. Or maybe this is their first game. So it is easy to learn and teach. It does have fast playing time. Almost all of our games were under 30 minutes. Mm-hmm. But non-hobbyists will struggle with setup and lack of keyword examples. So one thing that they messed up on, and this is, I don't know why you would mess up on this, because all you got to do is give this to some inexperienced players and see how well they handle setup. So you got to look on this page for setting up the game, right? But you know what's missing here? They didn't tell you how many probe droids to put in a space. They tell you how much artillery, snowtroopers, and AT-ATs, but what's missing is probes. So when you set up the first scenario, you're like, well, how many probe droids am I supposed to put there? Well, you got to look on this card. So when you're doing things like that, see how it says 2? When you're doing things like that, it makes it difficult for a non-hobbyist. For people who are used to playing with companies making mistakes, we can figure it out. Another issue, too, is keyword problems. So when you play games like Magic the Gathering or war games, when you're experienced, you know to check out the appendix here, and you look for keywords like this: infantry unit, vehicle flying unit, special artillery unit. Okay, see how it says infantry unit, vehicle unit? Now why does that matter? Because when you play cards, how the cards interact, you got to pay attention. If it says, or even in the scenario instructions, are they talking any unit? Is it an infantry unit? Is it a vehicle unit? And so they probably should have had those keywords on here. And then they should have had an FAQ in the back. Again, I'm only pointing this out. People who are experienced hobbyists, that's fine. This game is fine. But if they were trying to market this to people new to the hobby, they're going to struggle with some of this. They have a good FAQ here on line of sight. But they also should have had an FAQ on dealing with keywords and card interactions. All right, so it's missed opportunities, completeness, and expansion question mark. So what does that mean? I'm neutral on this. As I already mentioned, it does not have an AT-ST. It did not have the other artillery type. So if you remember from the movie, this is one of the artillery types, but they also had one that looked like a satellite dish. That could have been a different unit. Will they come out with an expansion for that? There's some people are already doing the Wampas, as a where you got to rescue Luke from the Wampas, and then there's a deleted scene in Empire Strikes Back where the Wampas actually attack the base.
I don't know what a Wampa is.
That's the one that captured Luke and he cut his arm off. Remember the Yeti, the snow creature?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
They also could have had rebel troops on Tauntauns.
No,
Those
that
are
is
the
either.
those two-legged creatures that
Oh, yeah.
that Han cut open to save Luke.
To save Luke.
So they could possibly do an expansion for that. I don't know, but I'm sure they had to limit how many units and things like that. It's a neutral. Now I could see, are they going to do Return of the Jedi next with this, doing the attack on Endor, where you have the Ewoks and the troops?
Those are the teddy bears, right?
Correct, yeah, teddy bears. You're right. Are they going to do a Clone Wars? There's a lot more opportunities for Clone Wars. A lot of battles in that from the cartoon and the movies. So we'll see what they do. All right, so now it's Julie's turn.
Well, I don't have as much to say as David.
That's okay.
I thought it felt like you're in the movie, and the only reason why I said that, and you could tell I'm not a big Star Wars person, David did show me one night that this scene on the DVD or the Blu-ray or whatever it was, and so I felt like I was in there playing it, so it made more sense to me. The pieces are really good quality. I like them. I didn't know the names of them all the way, so I made my own names for things. And yeah.
Well, it's just like here you have the blast symbol. I was calling it explosion symbol, but Julie would call it the sunflower.
And sunshine.
Sunshine.
I call it sunshine and sunflower. And the garbage can.
Snow ship.
The snow ship and the garbage can.
Yeah, these are the garbage cans.
And the big eye. The big eyeball.
That's okay. You don't have to know the things.
Yeah, exactly. It made up my own rules. I definitely agree with David. Well, I don't agree with him. He didn't say this, but I think you need to play this with someone who is experienced playing war games like that Memoir 44. Yeah. If I were to play this with somebody, I wouldn't play this with somebody else because I don't know what the heck I was doing half the time. So, yeah.
And what Julie's referring to, when you play this game, there's certain ways to play it well so that you have a better chance of winning. How you concentrate your fire. When you have multiple units firing, who do you fire first? Because if you get retreats, those other units may not be able to fire. How to avoid that, so that way you don't group your troops so that if someone gets a retreat, because if you get a retreat and they can't retreat, they take a casualty instead.
Yeah.
And then just moving properly. There's more ideal ways to play this game, and so a veteran player would definitely dominate in this. But you need a veteran player to teach.
Oh yeah. I mean, I was trying to move sideways and do stuff, and he was like, no, you can't do that. So again, I made it my Julie rules. I do think it's swingy. The dice rolls and the cards you need to get can get very frustrating. If you're not rolling well, you'll see when you watch the other videos, I got very frustrated.
Well, especially when she tries to destroy an AT-AT like 5 times and she can't get the rolls.
I couldn't just get it, and it just. And I don't think the scenarios are balanced. Yes, he beat me by 1, but I had to scrape by to try and get some of the wins that I got. I mean, it was like pure luck that I got the wins that I got.
So if you're playing with somebody who's younger or inexperienced, just give them the leader cards.
And I'll tell you right now, they didn't always help because I didn't always get them when I needed them, and I would maybe get them, and they still wouldn't help me with what I was in. So
if you want, I think the Empire has the advantage. Now, if you gave someone who's new to this and inexperienced the Empire with the leader cards, some of these leader cards are so
they're
powerful.
so powerful.
I like this one right here.
I would have been in tears half the time.
I haven't played one yet, but I could already tell. Order 2 units to your choice. Retreat rolls are considered blasts. I mean, that's basically you're hitting on a 50% chance there, because retreat So right there, you can devastate. You can get 2 medals right there, taking out 2 units if you roll well. And then there was another one here. Order all your units. That means everything on the board Yeah, they may get one less die, but that's pretty powerful for Vader.
Yeah.
And then here, there's another one here. Order one unit of your choice, then order that same unit again. It's just the Empire cards. I can see you getting medals real quick. What it is with the Rebel cards, allows you to move faster and roll an additional die, but not quite like the Empire ones. All right, so I do highly recommend this if you're a fan of Star Wars. If you're a fan of Memoir 44, definitely. And the key thing to this is a great introduction to the system, entry point, so that if someone is not too sure if they would like Memoir 44, and you know they're okay with Star Wars, I would start with this first and then go to Memoir 44.
Yeah. I only played this because David really loves Star Wars. And I'm like, yeah, okay.
Well, you had fun?
I had fun. I really did. Like I said, I didn't know half the things I was doing, but I did have fun because I got to be with him.
Yeah, but you did get better at this game. As time went on, I didn't have to help her as much.
Yeah. But if we were to play next week, I probably wouldn't remember what I'm doing.
No, I think it would come back to you. By the way, she has played Memoir 44.
I have?
Yes.
Oh.
And you had, in the scenarios that we were playing, you beat me more than I won. So.
Again, I don't even remember doing that.
That's
so.
Okay. All right, well, thanks for watching. And like I said, there's 17 other videos you can check out. We go through all scenarios 1 through 17.
Yep.
If we do get our hands on a second copy, we will do scenario 18. And from what I understand, there is a scenario editor on the Days of Wonder site. Already there's a bunch of scenarios on there that you can play that extend it.
Awesome.
All right, so thanks for watching.
Thanks so much, you guys. We look forward to seeing you in the next video.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.